The clock ticks louder than their voices ever do. Sharon sits at the dining table, pushing peas around her plate while George stares at his phone, thumb scrolling through nothing. The only sound is silverware scraping porcelain, a hollow metallic heartbeat in a house that used to echo with laughter. 10 years of marriage, and tonight they can't find a single word worth saying. He reaches for the water glass. She flinches at the movement, then hates herself for it. He notices jaw tightening and says nothing. Later, in bed, they lie like strangers booked into the same room by mistake. A canyon of cold sheet stretches between them. She listens to him breathe, slow, careful, pretending to sleep. Her chest aches with everything she can't tell him. I miss you. Do you even see me anymore? George turns onto his side, back to her, fingers curled into the pillow as if holding himself together. He feels her loneliness like a bruise under his ribs, but the words stick in his throat. I'm scared if I speak, you'll finally say you're done. At 2:17 a.m., Sharon slips downstairs. The blue glow of her laptop is the only light in the house. Her hands tremble as she creates the profile. No photo, no real name, just a blank silhouette and the username, Echo42. She types into the void. Does anyone else live with someone who feels like a ghost? Her finger hovers over post. Then she clicks. Maybe, just maybe, someone out there will answer. The notification pings before her pulse can settle. A single message slides into the empty inbox. Ghosts are loudest when the house is quiet. I hear mine every night. Sharon's breath catches. The words feel handwritten on the inside of her ribs. She stares at the username. Grey Wanderer 87, no photo, just like hers. Something about the cadence twists her stomach in recognition, then dismisses it. Impossible. She types back before fear can stop her. Mine walks past me like I'm made of air. His reply comes in seconds. Then let's be solid for each other, even if it's just words. She laughs out loud. A small, startled sound that echoes in the dark living room. The noise feels foreign in her mouth, like a language she forgot she knew. They talk until dawn bleeds pink through the curtains. He remembers how she used to steal the blankets and call thunderstorms sky tantrums. He quotes the silly poem she wrote him in 10th grade about freckles being constellations for fingertips. Every line lands like a palm against her cheek, gentle and devastating. Sharon wipes tears she didn't realize were falling. Who is this man who knows her like a prayer? Upstairs, George lies awake, phone glowing under the covers. His heart hammers so hard he's sure the mattress shakes. The moment he saw Echo42's first post, he knew. The way she described the silence, the exact slope of her loneliness. It was Sharon's handwriting on the screen. He types another message, thumb trembling. Tell me something you've never told anyone. She answers instantly. I still sleep on my side of the bed, waiting for someone to reach across the gap. George closes his eyes. The gap is 18 inches and 10 lost years. He writes back, voice cracking inside the words only he can hear. I'm still reaching, Shar. I never stopped. The phone burns against Sharon's palm every night now. She tells herself it's just words, just air. But her heart races like she's 17 and sneaking out the window. Grey Wanderer 87 sends her voice notes at 1:14 a.m. low, familiar rasp saying, You were laughing in your sleep last night. Did you know that? I could listen to that sound forever. She plays it 3 times, eyes closed, thighs pressed together under the blanket while George sleeps 3 feet away, breathing steady and oblivious. In the mornings she's softer. She hums while making coffee. She brushes George's arm, reaching for the sugar, and actually lingers half a second. He freezes, startled by the warmth, then watches her with quiet, aching wonder. You're glowing lately, he says one dawn, voice rough from disuse. Sharon's stomach drops. She forces a smile. New face cream. He nods, but his eyes trace the flush on her cheeks like he's trying to memorize it before it disappears again. That afternoon, alone in the laundry room, she opens the chat. Grey Wanderer 87. You're beautiful when you're brave enough to want something. Echo 42. I feel like I'm cheating. Grey Wanderer 87. Wanting to be seen isn't cheating, Shar. It's surviving. The nickname slices her open. Only one person has ever called her Shar. She stares at the screen until it blurs. Guilt and longing tangle so tight she can't breathe. She types, deletes, types again. Echo 42. I wish my husband could see me the way you do. She hits send, then throws the phone like it's on fire. Upstairs, George reads the message and presses the heel of his hand against his sternum. Hard, as if he can push his heart back into place. He whispers to the empty room, I do see you. God. Sharon, I never stopped. Then he types back, terrified and desperate. Grey Wanderer 87. Maybe he's trying. Maybe he's just scared he already lost you. Sharon reads it in the dark and sobs silently into her pillow. The same pillow George's hand rests inches from, fingers curled like they're still reaching. George's next message arrives while Sharon is folding laundry, the phone vibrating against the dryer like a trapped heartbeat. Grey Wanderer 87. Meet me. Friday, 8 p.m. The pier where we had our first kiss. I'll be wearing the gray hoodie you used to steal. I just want to see if your eyes still crinkle the same way when you smile. Her knees buckle. She sits hard on the cold tile, laundry forgotten. The pier. The hoodie. Details no stranger could know. Her pulse riots between terror and impossible hope. She types, deletes, types again, hands shaking so badly the screen blurs. Echo 42. I'm scared. Grey Wanderer 87. I know. Me too. But I'd wait on that pier every night for the rest of my life if it meant one real minute with you. Sharon presses the phone to her chest like it might burn a hole straight through to her heart. Guilt floods her mouth, metallic and bitter. She imagines telling George she's real face that she's meeting another man, imagines the quiet fracture in his eyes, and nearly vomits. That evening George is too calm. He cooks pasta, pours her wine without asking, brushes past her in the narrow kitchen so his fingers graze the small of her back. Barely there, but deliberate. She flinches, he pretends not to notice. His silence feels heavier than shouting. Later, he sends one last message from the guest room, door closed, pretending to work late. Grey Wanderer 87. Remember the night you dropped your ice cream on my shoes and cried because you thought I'd be mad? I kept the stain. Still have the shoes. Still have you even if you don't know it yet. Sharon stares at the words until they swim. She never told anyone that story except George. Across the wall, George rests his forehead against the cool wood of the door, listening for her footsteps, praying she chooses the pier, praying she chooses him without knowing it's him. He's never been more terrified in his life. Thursday night, the house hums with unsaid things. Sharon stands in the doorway of their bedroom, one hand on the frame like it's the only thing keeping her upright. Moonlight cuts across the bed in a silver blade, slicing George in half. He lies on his back, eyes closed, chest rising slow and even. She watches the familiar line of his jaw, the small scar above his eyebrow she used to kiss when they were 20 and fearless. When did she stop? She whispers in her head, cruel and constant. When did you stop looking at me like I was the answer to every question you had? She pads closer, bare feet silent on the hardwood. The air smells like his soap and the faint salt of sleeplessness. She wants to crawl in beside him, press her face to his chest, ask why they let the silence grow teeth. Instead she stands frozen, terrified that if she touches him he'll feel how far away she's already gone. George's lashes tremble. He isn't asleep. He feels her standing there the way he used to feel storms coming in his bones. Every cell in his body begs him to reach for her, to end this tonight. But fear clamps his arms to his sides. If she shows up tomorrow, it means some part of her still believes in us. If she doesn't, he can't finish the thought. Sharon's fingers brush the edge of the blanket, a ghost of contact. "I'm sorry," she breathes. So quietly the words barely disturb the air. George's heart fractures. He almost turns, almost says her name, almost ruins everything. Instead, he keeps his breathing steady and prays harder than he's ever prayed. Tomorrow she will either walks toward him on that pier, or away from him forever. Neither of them sleeps. The clock ticks like a countdown. Friday evening. The pier smells of salt and fried dough and every memory they ever made here. Sharon steps onto the weathered boards at 7:58, heart battering her ribs so hard she's dizzy. She wears the same navy coat from their first date, the one he once said made her eyes look like storms. Wind whips her hair across her face. She doesn't brush it away. She wants to feel everything tonight. She scans every gray hoodie, every tall shadow. None of them are him. None of them are anyone. At 8:17 she's shaking. At 8:29 her hope starts to curdle into humiliation. From the boardwalk railing 30 yards back, George watches through the crowd, half hidden by a kiosk. The sight of her, nervous, beautiful, waiting for him, almost breaks him in half. He grips the railing until the metal bites his palms. Go to her, his blood screams. End this. But fear is louder. If I walk up now, she'll know. She'll hate the lie. She'll leave. His phone burns in his pocket. At 8:42 he types with trembling thumbs. Grey Wanderer 87. I saw you. You're even more beautiful than I remembered. I stood 10 feet away and still couldn't breathe. I'm sorry. I got scared. I'm not ready to lose the version of us that still talks. Soon, Echo. Promise. Sharon's phone vibrates against her hip. She reads it standing alone under the string lights, tears sliding hot down cold cheeks. Relief and devastation collide inside her chest. She types back, fingers numb. Echo 42. I waited. I would have waited all night. George reads her reply with his forehead pressed to the rough wood of the kiosk, salt air stinging his eyes. He whispers into the dark. You won't have to wait much longer, Shar. I swear. Then he turns and walks away before he loses the last of his courage, leaving her alone on the pier that still belongs to both of them. Sharon comes home from the pier with salt-stiff hair and eyes swollen from crying in the car. The house is dark except for the low glow of the kitchen light over the stove. George is at the counter, sleeves rolled, stirring something that smells like the chicken soup he used to make when she had the flu in college. He looks up and his face folds with quiet alarm. Hey, you're freezing. Before she can dodge, he's in front of her, palms cupping her chilled cheeks, thumbs brushing away tears she didn't know were still falling. The touch is so careful it hurts. I went for a drive. She lies, voice shredded. He nods like he believes her, but his eyes say he's cataloging every crack in her armor. That night, he doesn't go back to her side of the bed. She sits on the couch wrapped in the throw blanket that still smells like both of them. George brings her soup in the old chipped bowl she loves, sets it on the coffee table, then hesitates. Slowly, deliberately, he sits beside her, close enough that their knees touch. Remember when we tried to make pasta from scratch and turned the kitchen into a war zone? He says, soft. She huffs a wet laugh despite herself. You wore more flour than the dough. His smile is small, aching. I still have the photo evidence. His fingers find hers under the blanket, threading slowly, testing. She lets him. The warmth spreads up her arm like forgiveness she hasn't earned. Over the next days, the house breathes differently. He leaves her coffee exactly how she likes it. He asks about her day and actually listens, eyes steady on hers like she's the only thing in the room. When they pass in the hallway, his hand settles at the small of her back, lingering a second longer each time, a silent question. One night she wakes to find his arm draped over her waist, palm open against her stomach as if to keep her from floating away. She doesn't move. She lies there feeling his heartbeat against her spine and wonders which man is real, the one who types poetry to Echo 42, or the one holding her like she's breakable and priceless. George presses his lips to the nape of her neck. Barely a kiss, more a confession. I miss you, he whispers into her skin. So quiet she could pretend she didn't hear, but she hears, and for the first time in years, she leans back into him. Just an inch, just enough. The room is still humming with them when it happens. They lie tangled in the half-dark, sheets twisted around their hips, skin damp and glowing. George's hand rests over her heart like he's checking it's still beating for him. Sharon's cheek is against his chest, listening to the thunder that used to be theirs alone. For the first time in years, the silence between them feels full instead of empty. He kisses her hair, slow, reverent. She closes her eyes and the words claw their way out. I have to tell you something. His fingers pause on her spine. He already knows, but hearing it is a different kind of knife. She sits up, pulling the sheet to her chest like armor. Tears are already coming. I've been talking to someone online. For weeks. Started because I felt invisible. And he saw me. He listened. Her voice cracks. Tonight was so beautiful. And it's killing me because I think I'm falling for him. George's world tilts. He'd prepared for the confession. He'd scripted gentle forgiveness in his head 100 times. But not this. Not falling. The air leaves his lungs in a slow, soundless leak. He sits up too, back against the headboard, staring at the wall like it might hold him together. His throat works, but nothing comes out. Sharon reaches for his hand. He flinches. The small rejection guts her. George, say something. Please. Yell at me. Anything. He finally looks at her. His eyes are red-rimmed, devastated in a way she's never seen. You're falling for him, he repeats, voice hoarse, tasting every syllable like poison. She nods, sobbing now. I didn't mean for it to happen. I love you. I do. But I was so lonely I couldn't breathe. George drags a shaking hand over his face. The moment to tell her everything. Grey Wanderer 87. The pier, every aching word, balances on his tongue. One sentence and the lie ends. One sentence and he might lose her forever. He closes his eyes. The truth stays trapped behind his teeth, burning. Outside, rain starts against the window, soft and relentless. Inside, the space between them is suddenly colder than it's ever been. The rain has turned heavy, drumming the roof like it wants inside. George's voice is barely louder than the storm. It was me, Sharon. She goes very still. Grey Wanderer 87. The pier. Every night you thought you were talking to a stranger. It was me. The words hit her body before her mind can catch them. She jerks back on the mattress as if he struck her. Sheet clutched to her chest, eyes wide and glassy with shock. You knew. The question comes out a cracked whisper. From the beginning? He nods once, slow, throat working. First post. The way you described the silence. Only you could write it like that. Humiliation floods her so hot she feels faint. Every raw confession, every fantasy, every time she told him, she ached to be touched again. George read it all, while lying beside her, while pretending to sleep. Oh my God! She presses both hands over her mouth, rocking forward. You let me beg another man for the things I couldn't ask you for. Tears spill over her fingers. George reaches, then stops himself, hands hovering in the air between them. I was terrified, he rasps. I thought if I spoke up too soon you'd shut down forever. I kept thinking, if I could just remind you how good we are. How good we were. Maybe you'd turn back to me on your own. I needed to know you still wanted me, not just the memory of who I used to be. His voice breaks on the last word. Sharon's sobs turn ragged. I wanted you, she cries. I've only ever wanted you. I just didn't know how to find you anymore. The space between them feels impossible. Then she crawls across it, knees shaking, and crashes into his chest. George's arms close around her like he's been starving for the weight of her. They cling, crying into each other's necks, rain hammering, years of silence finally shattering all at once. I'm sorry, she keeps saying. I was so scared of losing you, he keeps answering. They stay like that until the storm quiets and their breathing finds the same rhythm again. Two people who almost lost everything because they forgot how to reach in the dark. Dawn leaks pale gold through the curtains when Sharon's phone buzzes on the nightstand. A new chat request. No silhouette this time. George Ellis. She turns her head. He's already watching her. Eyes soft and red from crying. Hair a mess. Looking more like the boy she married than he has in years. He lifts the phone between them so she can see the screen. George, hi. I miss you. Her breath catches on a laugh that's half sob. She types with one thumb, the other hand finding his under the blanket. Sharon. Come here. Let's start again. He tosses both phones aside before the message even delivers. They meet in the middle of the bed like the first time, hesitant, then urgent. His mouth finds hers and it tastes like salt and forgiveness and every morning they wasted. Hands that spent years reaching past each other now map every scar. Every changed curve. Every place the silence bruised. They speak without words at first. I'm sorry. I see you. I never stopped loving you. Later, when the sun is fully up and the room is warm with them, George presses his forehead to hers. No more ghosts, he whispers. No more hiding, she answers. They keep the chat open for fun now. Real names, real photos, stupid memes at 2 a.m., voice notes that say, I love you, just because they finally can. Some nights they read their old anonymous messages aloud and laugh until they cry at how loud their hearts were screaming even when their mouths stayed shut. Years from now, when someone asks how they stayed together, Sharon will smile and say, we got lost. Then we found each other twice. And on quiet mornings, George still pulls her close, palm over her heart the way he did that first night after the truth, and whispers against her skin. Still reaching, Shar. Always reaching. She threads his fingers through hers, and she squeezes back. They choose each other. Every single day. Out loud. In the light.